these are the points here. I'm going to try to briefly explain them, and hopefully you get notes, because some of these points, or I would say most of these points, really need you guys working on them. So you have to put effort on it. That means maybe outside of your classes, trying and pay attention on these points and try to work on them on your own, so you complement it with the class, so your English is improved, right? So you improve your pronunciation. This is what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you a 5-point, right? So what you gotta do, these are very helpful tips to improve your English pronunciation. Is that clear what we're doing now? Yeah, what we're gonna do now. So, Alicia, would you mind reading the first point there, first tip to improve your English pronunciation?
Choose your accent.
Choose your accent. Very good. So, if we really want to speak English, if we really want to be fluent, well, the best way of doing it is choosing an accent, imitating the intonation one of the native speakers can come up with. So you have to do that. You may say, I want to sound British, I want to sound Australian, I want to sound American. That is very important. That is very important, because for some reason, pronunciation can rise your English level all the way up. So let's say, for instance, you make a mistake, you don't conjugate the verb the right way, you don't use the right article, you don't use the right preposition, but if you have a really good pronunciation, then those mistakes can be overlooked somehow, right? So people don't pay attention onto it. Whereas if you have perfect grammar, you use articles in such an excellent way, you use prepositions, modal verbs, everything so greatly. But when you start pronouncing, when you start and come up with a real conversation and your pronunciation is poor, then you're going to give the impression that your English level is a little lower than it actually is. So it's important to start imitating an accent. Now, when I say this, what you have to do, so try to watch TV, maybe say, well, I want to sound like an American movie star. So go ahead and watch movies, try to imitate them. You want to sound British, then go and watch BBC. I love watching the news. I don't know about you, I love watching the news. And surprisingly, it relaxes me. People get nervous when they watch the news. In my case, it's the opposite. I don't know, if I'm worried, if I'm thinking a lot about something, I turn on the TV and watch news, BBC, and for some reason, that relaxes me. That's my personal thing. Right. Second thing you have to do to improve your English pronunciation is being careful with the vowels. So vowels corrections. You have to correct the way you pronounce your vowels. As we know, vowels are A, E, R, O, U. Now, in Spanish, in our language, it's so easy. It always sounds A, E, A, E, O, U, and it never changes. It's always the same. Well, in English, it's not. So you have to correct your pronunciation, your vowels pronunciation. But since we have different ways of saying it, then we have to practice them in a context. So try to pronounce the vowels according to different situations. So as you may know about it, vowels can be pronounced in different ways depending on the position of the vowel, what letters are next to that vowel. So that is something you have to work on your own. So try to, pronunciation vowels. I don't know, there are some, if you type on Google syllables pronunciation, you're going to see a little face doing the gestures. Actually, on my very basic class, I teach the students about A, E, I, O, U. Yeah, and so we learn how to move our mouth properly. So vowels, important. The next one is something called the schwa. The schwa is how English gets lazy. For example, the schwa, I'm gonna type in this one. I want a cup of tea. If we were pronouncing it in a very, because you can actually pronounce this phrase perfectly, but we would say, I want a cup of tea. A native speaker comes up with something called the schwa. And for that, I would recommend to you to, to find more into it. I want a cup of tea. So it's a sound that makes it sound lazier. They don't stress every word. I want a cup of tea. That sounds, it's okay, it's perfect, but it doesn't sound as natural as if I say, I want a cup of tea. I want a cup of tea. It's a schwa. Next one is syllables stress. Again, we're gonna go now to the idea of a syllable. It's very simple syllable. The sounds that belong to a word. We have to know where to stress that word. Let me give an example. English is a little flatter. It's always the same. Taka, 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 ta. English has rises and falls in rhythms. For example, the word accept, accept, accept. That little apostrophe here is where the stress of the syllable goes to, accept. So the first one, I don't know if you can hear it, it's a little lower, the volume I put on it, accept, 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 right? And television, 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 television. I put stress on television. You understand it? What I'm talking about with
guitar, by example.
Guitar, guitar, guitar. That falls, rises, ups and downs. That's very important. So how you're gonna do it? On Google, type in syllable stress examples so you can practice and pronounce properly. The next one, it's very important. If we want to sound better in English, we have to link sounds, linking sounds. For example, he has an apple. He has an umbrella. He has an umbrella. That's well pronounced, but it doesn't sound, it's not like Spanish. Taka, 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 taka. In English, they do link sounds all the time. He has an umbrella. 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 He's got an umbrella. He's got an umbrella. He has an umbrella. So
no spaces between words.
Exactly, something like it. It's like linking them, fusioning them. So to find more about it, just put in Google linking sounds, and then it gives you examples. So those tips is just a little presentation to, to get a little more, to get to know more about how to pronounce English better. And why is it important? Because of what I said at the beginning. Pronouncing it better, pronouncing it correctly, rises our English all the way up. Even you can make a lot of mistakes, but people will go like, wow, your pronunciation is really good. When you hear that, you feel good, you get confidence into speaking the language, and you just want to carry on and improve more and more and more. It's very motivating getting compliments about pronunciation. That's why I'm giving you these steps, right? Okay, let's move on to the class. So today's class, we are going to talk about modal verbs. Let's all repeat modal verbs.
Modal
verbs.
Modal verbs, what are they? How do we use them effectively? So this will be a little introduction class to it. Modal verbs is such a long topic to discuss about, so we have to go through many things to talk about modal verbs. But this will be like the little introduction to how to use them effectively. Let's read that out. Let me hear your pronunciation there. Catherine, read that out.
Okay. Using them effectively.
Effectively. We drop the effectively. Effectively.
Effectively.
Repetimos? Effectively. Very good. Using them effectively. That's what we're going to discuss about today. Okay. These verbs, the modal verbs, are auxiliary verbs, just like be, do, and have, because they work together with a main verb. So we have the formula here. Alicia, would you mind reading the formula that I'm underlining now?
Modal plus main verbs.
Modal plus es el signo de más, pero como
Okay.
que les digo más, pongo ahora la palabra para que aprendan a decir cómo se dice más. Otra vez, modal.
Modal.
Modal. No, modal, no me abres tanto la boca. Mira mi boca. Modal. Modal plus
main verb.
Main verb. This is the formula. This is how we do it. Now, let me go back a bit to the auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are verbs that are there to help, but they are not the main verb. I'm going to go back to it in a bit. So just pointing that out. Let's go back to the topic, modal. So the structure, the formula to use a modal verb is modal plus the main verb. So the following verb is always in the bare infinitive form without to. Okay. Second rule of modal verbs. Modal verbs could, should, would. The verb after my modal verb could, should, would, and there are more. The verb right after will be the simple form without to. So, vamos a repetir. Jose Luis, would you mind reading the first? Sorry, I just moved it over. I always do the same. I don't know how to fix it now.
No, just on the line. No, not the bottom. The line.
Okay. Okay, example here, number 1. Read it out for me.
Yeah, I could go.
I could
go. I could go. Hello. 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 Hello.
Alejandro.
Se congeló.
Yeah, I think he has problem with the
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah.
Hello. Where are you from, Katerina? Catherine, right?
I'm from Colombia.
Colombia. Ah, nice to meet you. I'm from Mexico. Now I'm living in the United States.
Ah, okay, great.
I've been living here around 8 months. I think.
8 months?
Yeah.
Where, in Mexico?
No, in United States.
Ah, okay. In which part?
I was living in Washington State.
Okay,
I came here exactly in the winter, so I didn't know the snow. Very how can I say stressful because it's too very hot.
Yeah.
Cold, sorry, very cold, and was horrible. and then the pandemic, I couldn't go
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, I know. That's terrible.
And then I find a job here in California, so I moved here to California.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
living here.
okay, a little change. I live in Madrid, not
Yeah?
in Colombia. Yeah,
Uh,
I live in Madrid.
how's the weather over there?
Very hot.
Very
Hot,
hot.
right?
In Spain.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Today
This
is
week-
gonna be a very hot day.
Sylvia, are you from Spain too?
From Spain too. Yes, near Barcelona, but
Wolf.
Where? Because I
In
am in
Lleida.
Barcelona. Lleida. Ah, okay.
no, Lleida.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's,
We are expecting
Okay.
it to be 40, 41 degrees here.
Yeah.
41?
They-
It's becoming
here,
terrible.
here in California, we are around 40 degrees.
Oh,
No.
Very, very hot.
Hello again.
I complain in Washington, complain about the hot. Now I'm complaining about the hot, the cold previously. Now I'm complaining about the hot.
Hello, Alejandro.
the teacher is back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Basically, I was speaking, I saw you speaking, and then it all phrased out, and I was not on Zoom anymore. So I don't know what happened. I mean, the program took me out, and I don't know. Weird. It never happened to me before. Well, anyways, we were talking about. Okay, so I could go. ¿Qué me estaba leyendo esa?
I could go. Me, José Luis.
Léeme las otras, por favor.
You should take.
You
They
should.
would. They would like. They would like.
Remember, don't pronounce the L. I could go. You should.
I could go. You should go. You should take. They would like.
They would like. Very good. So we're talking
Okay.
about modal. Could, should, would. Okay. Now, quickly, we have the verb here, which I'm going to underline. I'm going to underline it. Go, take, and like. Let's mention something quickly about verbs. There is one form of the verb called infinitive form and bare infinitive form, or we can call it the zero infinitive form, which is this zero infinitive form, and the first infinitive form, which is adding a to before, right? To go, or simply saying go. When we have go, that is the first infinitive form, la primera forma infinitiva, pero también está la cero. Cuando tengo la cero forma infinitiva, I have only go without the to. So,
Okay.
for modal verbs, we never ever put to. Never. It's always going to be the zero infinitive form. Okay. Now, let's start understanding could, would, should, and more. But in general, what is a modal verb? So modal verbs are used in English to express something. They have a purpose, right? This is definition of modal verbs. Modal verbs are used in English to express something, and they have a purpose. Now, today, we are going to be focusing only, today, we're going to be focusing only on those modal verbs that express possibility and probability. This is going to be today's class. So, possibility and probability. Here we go. Let's get started. So, this is the question. If we want to express Cuidado ahí con el sonido de la hoja. How likely is an action to happen? Then we say. For example, Alicia, read out the first question there.
Are you certain?
Are you certain? ¿Estás seguro? Entonces, ante la pregunta, are you certain? ¿Estás seguro? El modal verb que vamos a utilizar es will. Repetimos, will.
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 Repetimos, it will happen.
It will happen.
It will happen.
Va a pasar. Entonces, si los verbos modales, modal verbs, help us to express possibility, then hay un sonido ahí.
Yes.
Who's got the sound? Without, be careful. Okay.
I didn't make it.
You didn't make
Sorry.
it helpful. Okay. Don't worry. Okay. Don't do it. So are you certain? So modal verbs, what did we say about them? We said modal verbs helps us out to express something. Today, we're going to be discussing about those regarding possibility and or probability. So, okay, which ones are they? First modal verb, repetimos todos, will.
Well.
Will.
Si me sirven para expresar posibilidad y probabilidad, ¿qué modal verb voy a utilizar para asegurarme que algo va a pasar? Will. Por eso responden a la pregunta, are you certain? Repetimos todos, are you certain?
Are you certain?
Certain? Certain?
¿Estás seguro? Sí. It will happen. The modal verb used to express something that for sure is going to happen is will. Okay. What modal verb do we use when an event is not certain but probable? Jose Luis, read out the next.
Yeah. Is it probable? It should happen.
It should happen. So
Should happen. Sorry.
when the
Should happen.
event is not certain but probably will happen, we use should. It should happen. So this is asking us if it's certain, if it's probable. This is how we're going to know what modal verb to use. And this is how we're going to make it correctly. So for example, if let's say I say to you, here in Mexico is 3:30 in the morning, right? So in Mexico time, in 2 hours and a half, it should be 6 in the morning. It should be. Es probable que sean las 6 de la mañana, o de hecho es un hecho que van a 6 de la mañana en 2 horas y media. It will happen. It's no way around it. So if I say it should be 6 a.m. in the morning, sounds strange. It just doesn't fit in. So this is how we're going to know what modal verb to use. Knowing what modal verb regarding possibility and probability, this is how we're going to know how to use them. Are things clear so far?
Yeah.
So 2 modal verbs. We haven't even started with them in detail. No hemos empezado en detalle. We have not started in detail. We're just giving an introduction. Let's carry on. Now, what about if it's possible? So it's possible to happen or not to happen. This is different from certainty, for sure. Probable. There is a big chance of the event happening. Now, is it possible? Then we use it can happen. A ver, Catherine, léeme la pregunta y la respuesta.
It is possible. It can happen.
Is it possible?
It is possible. It can happen.
It can happen. So if an event is possible, then we use the modal verb can. Repetimos todos, can.
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 It can happen. or when an event is unlikely to happen, the modal verb we are going to use is couldn't. Repetimos, couldn't.
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 So you guys, so for you guys not to get lost, I'm giving you an introduction on when to use the modal verbs. And the words that I'm underlining now are the modal verbs. These are modal verbs. Why can I? Okay, there it is. I have introduced to you modal verbs that will be used to talk about probability or how likely is an event to happen. I've introduced to you 4 of them. Will, should, can, and couldn't. ¿Vamos a estar claros? ¿Sí o no? ¿Cuáles son los modal verbs? Ok. Vamos a empezar a verlos in detail. In detail now, guys. I know you've been waiting for it. Okay. As I said to you before, for all these situations, you can use a modal verb to express how certain you are that something will happen. Now, also you can use these modal verbs to express ability of how able you are to do something, certainty, probability, and possibility. Oh dear, let me, I don't know what happened with my PPT presentation because I don't find the slides. No sé, no veo las, creo que se me mezcló mi presentación con otra. Entonces nada más déjame encontrarla. Y si no, se los cuento así, van tomando notas. Sorry. No sé qué le pasó en el archivo. Si no, pues se las voy contando, ¿no? Voy contándoles cómo está la situación. I'll tell you how's the situation going. You can talk among yourself for 1 minute. Hablen entre ustedes. Sigan hablando como cuando me los encontré. Chismeando, gossiping.
We were speaking about the weather.
Because I feel your spiders.
Yeah? You feel what?
You spiders.
No, I don't. I didn't, believe me, I didn't.
I don't see who is Sylvia, Catherine, and what else is, who is more available?
Yes.
Sylvia.
Yeah. We are talking with you, Alicia. Where are you from, Alicia?
I am from Argentina, but I am living in Barcelona.
So today there are many people from Spain.
From Spain, yes.
What time is over there?
More than 20 years here.
I mean, el hora, ¿a qué hora es por allá en España?
10:30, more or less.
¿De la mañana? Morning?
Yes.
Morning, yes.
Here is United States is almost 2 a.m.
Okay. Oh.
2 in the morning? In the morning?
Yeah.
Oh.
I prefer this time because there are less people, so I have to. I speak more with my teacher. I think this I learn more than in the day.
Yeah.
The days is the classes are crowded. We have no option to speak. I want to speak more. and the grammatic. It's important.
Yes, I think as there are just a little classes, conversational classes. It's more
Conversational.
than a conversational. I
Yeah,
would like
yeah.
to ask Alejandro if he knows what
In my
days.
case,
Yeah.
in my case, I very how can I say shame because I don't like talk even in Spanish. In English, I want to hide under the table in order to.
Sorry,
I don't like to
you don't
speak.
like you don't like
No,
what?
I don't like to speak to talk
Okay.
with the people. It's not because I can't. So just so it is. I don't know. I think it's shame. I don't know. So, but I have to improve that. So for that reason, I'm here.
Yes, if you are living there, you are going to improve very quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's every day you have a lesson outside.
Right, guys. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my presentation, so I'm just gonna wing it. Have you heard this expression?
Wing it?
Wing it. I said I'm gonna wing it. I'm just gonna wing it. It's like, so I have to teach the class, right? That's my obligation here, teaching the class. But I don't know where my presentation went to, so I'm gonna wing it. It's like improvising, but not really, because I was prepared. So I'm gonna do it without knowing I was gonna face difficulties. So I have to do it. I'm gonna wing it. Do it as it is, right? Okay. So
okay.
We have time. So
while you don't tell us that we're hacked.
Sorry.
While you don't tell us you were hacked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. No. I wasn't. I just I don't know. I don't know what happened. I did it, and I'm really upset because if I don't find it, that time I take into preparing the classes now it's gone, right? But anyways, so let's start breaking it down. I'm gonna do it here, and let me start off with the next one. See, I'm having here a different class, which is a conversational class, by the way, called COVID-19. But anyways, I'm gonna erase stuff.
Alejandro, just we were speaking while you were looking for the class.
Yeah.
That we would like to know which classes are just conversational classes.
Conversational classes.
Conversational classes.
Well,
to take out my afraid to speak English.
there are not conversational classes as far as I know so far. So it all depends on the amount of people attending the class, and of course, each teacher has different style of teaching. So I think you would have to look at all classes and see what time is not so busy, because obviously if I had 25 people now attending, I wouldn't have the chance to give you all the chance of speaking. So try to, number one, find those classes when they're not too crowded. And number two, you can ask your teacher to, whoever is teaching you, tell your teacher, oh, I want to participate. I'm sure that teacher is going to be more than happy to make you guys participate. Look at everyone's different style. So I think it's a mix. Now, as far as I know, there is no one like only conversational class.
Okay.
We don't have, which I think they would be great. I would love to host a only conversational class. I love them. I love a conversation. And not the best way to learn a language is speaking.
Okay.
Speaking, you have to practice. Okay. So how do we use will? So will, basically, as I said before, is the modal verb when we talk about a situation that definitely will happen or won't happen at all, not leaving a gap. So it will happen. For example, So I will teach classes tomorrow. I know I'll do it. I'm here at home. I know it's happening. I like teaching. I have the duty of doing it. I will teach classes tomorrow. Now, I told you before, modal verbs act as auxiliary verbs. The auxiliary verbs where do have. What happens with verbs that are not the main verb? They are contracted. So we're gonna say, I'll teach classes tomorrow. Various classes, so sounds better. Various classes tomorrow, right? Repetimos, I'll teach various classes tomorrow. So there is nothing wrong with saying I will. But modal verbs are contracted, reduced with a pronoun, along with a pronoun. I'll teach various classes tomorrow. Who wants to give me an example using that? Using the modal verb will.
For example, I could go to work.
You're using could.
I could go. Yeah, I could go to work tomorrow.
No, because we are only working with the modal verb will so far. I mean, could is a modal verb.
Will. Okay.
It has to be with will.
Okay. I'll wake up late tomorrow.
I'll wake up late tomorrow. So you are certain that tomorrow you are waking up late because you're tired, you deserve a break. Very good. I'll wake up late tomorrow. Very good. Okay, now let's look at the negative form of a certain event to happen. We use, well, this is derived from will, is won't. Repetimos, won't.
Want.
It's not going to happen. So I won't teach any French classes tomorrow. That's a fact. I don't speak French. So I'm certain I won't. I won't teach any French tomorrow. Now, let's start looking at the formula. What do we have here? We have the subject pronoun.
Also we can say I'm going to teach various classes tomorrow.
Yeah, but going, going, what is going is a different kind of structure. Going is an action, a verb.
Continuous.
Whereas will is a modal verb that helps us out. So
but,
yeah,
we can use any of those.
Yeah, any of them too.
Okay.
Pronoun. Plus will, won't, plus verb infinitive.
Okay.
What did I say to you before? For modal verbs, the verb that comes right after my modal, we will never use the first infinitive form with the word to.
Yeah.
¿Cierto? Sí, teach. No veo I'll to teach. I'll to wake up. Siempre without the to. ¿Vale? That will be somehow the formula. And very infinitive. Okay. Now, how we have to understand that for every modal verb, and so as in for every tense, we can formulate questions. So I'm going to start giving you questions about it. The formula, it's quite easy, is the modal verb plus subject plus 0 infinitive verb. In other words,
Okay.
for example, will you teach tomorrow? Will you teach tomorrow?
Okay.
Y yo respondo, yes, I will. Or no, I won't.
Ah, perfect.
So that is the structure for will. So the main thing here, the main goal of today is not really knowing the formula. It's understanding the differences between will or could or should. Because that's the problem. We don't use them correctly, or sometimes we make mistakes. Maybe we're talking about a certain event that definitely will happen, and then I use the modal verb could. So it's about making that difference. But anyway, so this is the modal verb that we use for expressing something that for certain will happen. Okay. We had any questions regarding the formula? I know I'm improvising, I'm winging it the best I can, but the structures, are you clear with the structures? Will you teach tomorrow?
Yeah.
Will, or I won't, I will. Okay. Give me an example. Give me an example of an event that won't happen in your lifetime, in your day-to-day.
By example, I can ask another person and answer. That's good exercise.
Exactly. So that was what I was going to do. So let's say Alicia, let me see the order here, how you guys are presented. So the order I say, Jose Luis, Alicia, Catherine, Umu, and Silvia. Okay, so Jose Luis, ask a question to Alicia, and Alicia answers using the modal will. I don't want to hear could, should. I want to hear will so far. Go.
Example will be, will you eat chicken tomorrow?
No, I won't.
No, I won't. The certain. Okay, very good. Or no, I won't. Now, Alicia, ask a question to Catherine.
Catherine, will you run tomorrow?
With run, ¿quieres decir correr de ejercitarse?
Workout, ¿no?
No, sí se puede decir correr, pero utilizamos jog. Repetimos todos. Jog. Jog. Jog.
Make jogging, ¿no?
Jogging es una cosa que se llama gerundio. Sí, lo mismo sería el gerundio. Contigo no está. Will you go for a jog tomorrow? Vamos a decirlo así.
Will you go for a jog tomorrow?
Okay, repeat the question again.
Will you go for a jog tomorrow?
No, I won't.
No, I won't. Ahora dilo completo. No, I won't go for a jog tomorrow.
Okay. No, I won't go for a jog tomorrow.
Very good, very good. No, I won't go for a jog tomorrow. No, I won't for a jog tomorrow. So I told you al principio de la clase that we have to use, to speak better, we have to have the right stress of the word. But when we are practicing, we have to practice both. If we are not certain how to use that, then better say it slowly. Will you go for a go tomorrow? No, I won't go for a jog tomorrow. Very good. Now, Catherine, would you mind asking Sylvia now?
Okay. Sylvia, will you practice English tomorrow?
Yes, I will practice tomorrow English.
I will practice English.
English tomorrow.
Say it again.
I will practice, yes, I will practice English tomorrow.
Ahora
Practice.
dímelo con la contracción, porque el inglés hablante nativo uses contractions.
Yes, I'll practice English tomorrow.
Yes, no, yes, yes, no, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. I'll
Yes.
practice English. I'll practice my English tomorrow. Very good. Sylvia asked Alicia.
Alicia, will you make a cake tomorrow?
No, I won't.
No, I won't. Faltó Umu, perdón. Ahora, Alicia, pregúntale a Umu.
Okay. Will you buy a jacket tomorrow?
Jacket.
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 No, I won't.
No, I won't. I won't buy a jacket.
No, I won't buy a jacket.
Very good. No, I won't buy a jacket. Very good. Alicia and everyone, remember, choose an accent. Try to sound a little more like a native. Will, repetimos, will.
Will.
Will you go?
Well.
So,
Wow.
will you
Wow.
go for a jog tomorrow? Will you
Wow.
go and buy a jacket? Will. Bring it.
Okay.
I promise I'll have on Monday. I'm gonna have to redo my class again. Unbelievable. And I took such a long time. I took about an hour preparing only this bloody class, and now I have to do it all over again. It takes a while to prepare a class, don't you think? Is that, copy? I don't do copy paste. I could do it, but I don't like doing, or maybe copy paste phrases, but I think about the whole thing. That's why it takes me so long. I'm actually quite upset now. I have to do it again. Right, are you certain it will happen? Now, the other one we're talking about here is when things you know what's happening? I don't know why. I see what's happening here. Les enseñé unas de las diapositivas y, y ya las que les enseñé a ustedes, ya una no está y no hice nada. O sea, ¿se acuerdan que les había enseñado la de shit? O sea, ya está.
¿Qué sistema operativo está usando, profesor?
Windows 10.
Por eso yo creo que algo tiene algún...
Es porque es viernes. Quiere descansar el...
Quiere descansar la computadora. Bueno,
Claro.
vámonos con la siguiente. Is it probable? Entonces, cuando algo no es, it's not for certain, but it's probable. It's probable. So, probable, what do I mean with it? I'm going to use the modal should when something is probable to happen. Meaning, if we had from 1 to 100% of chances of that happening, then I will be talking about an 80-90% of that event happening. So it should happen. It's probable. Whereas if I go to can is 50-50. It may happen, it may not happen. Should is very probable. For example, I should wake up around 10 a.m. in the morning. So that is a time I'm normally awake in the morning. That's probable, very probable. So most of the times I wake up 10 a.m. in the morning, maybe something extraordinary may happen, as in, I don't know, maybe I have a nightmare and I wake up and fall asleep again, which is going to make me wake up a little later. But here, it should happen. It's an event that should happen. There's a high probability of that event to happen. Now, question number one, do we understand the difference between will and should?
Yes.
Yep.
So, for example, if I use it, I will teach classes tomorrow. They should be fine. They should be fine. I should have no issues with my students. Most of you are actually, all the students I have the pleasure to teach to are really nice. So it should be fine. The class should be fine. No issues going on. You know, everything cool. So it should be. You understand the difference now between the use of will and should.
Yeah.
Who wants to give me an example? Mixing them. Yeah, mix them now. Give me an example mixing them. Mixing will and should.
Okay.
Mixing those two modal verbs, will and should. A certain event happening, and a probable event happening. Use them in one sentence as I did it.
I'll go to the cinema.
You'll go, it's a fact. You're going. Have you made an appointment already? You had spoken with your friend?
Maybe in a question, maybe.
Yeah.
For example, will you should buy these shoes?
Two modal verbs cannot be together. Modal verbs don't modify modal verbs. So you use either will or should, but or should. So you say, will you buy shoes tomorrow? No, I won't buy any shoes tomorrow.
Could be, I'll work on Monday.
That's
It should be a hard day.
Very good. I think it may be. I would have used I might, but very good. It should be actually a difficult day, right? Very good. Okay, bueno, la idea es que diferenciasen por ahora. Sorry that I lost my class. I don't know what happened, but I think that was a little issue. Thank you guys for coming. I promised to you on Monday we're gonna at this time class I'll have it all ready again. I'm gonna redo it during the weekend and prepare it for you. So I hope.
Okay.
Monday. Right.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, you too. Enjoy the weekend.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And practice your tips, the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.